Hello and welcome to the Little Home podcast, formerly the Creative Naturally podcast. My name's Bex. It's really lovely to be back. It's been a couple of months since I've updated you guys on what I've been making. And I just really wanted to chat to you guys and let you know all of my nitty things that I've been making. I've got a little bit of time today to sit down with you. And yeah, I've got so much to show you guys. So, I guess, yes, so you can find me on Instagram as @Bex_in_real_life. That's my kind of creativity Instagram account. You can also find me as @thelittlehome.oz, which is specifically tiny house related. As you guys may know, my partner Tom and I are in the process of building a tiny house for us to live in, and so that's a huge part of my life at the moment and probably my biggest creative project I've ever done. So I felt called to connect everything together, all of my different creativities and passions, and change this account name to The Little Home so I can do updates on this crazy change of life that I am in the process of kind of creating. Whilst also continuing to update you guys on what I'm making as well. So anyway, that aside, you can follow me on either or both of those Instagram accounts if you would like, and yeah, there'll be some tiny house related videos on this channel as well. So I've got so much stuff to show you guys, and this was not planned at all, so I have no notes. I'm just going to go with it. So any pattern names that I can't remember will be on the screen, and there probably will be quite a few of them. Okay. So I've got a couple of finished objects that I want to share with you guys. The first one, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen. This is my second. It's called Smaragd. I can't remember the designer's name. I'll have it written down below here. But this is a cardigan version. If you have, I think on my profile picture for this YouTube channel and also for Instagram, I'm wearing my mustard version, which I made into a pullover, but this is a cardigan version that I made. It's made out of a 4-ply Australian wool that I purchased from where I used to work, which is Morris & Sons, which is a wool shop in Melbourne city centre. And yeah, this is the cardigan version. I love it. I really haven't worn it that much, which is quite funny. I think one of the main reasons is that the buttonholes are a little bit large, so I just need to sit down and just sew them a little bit more closed, because currently it just doesn't work when it's done up. They come undone too easily. But it's such a beautiful layer. And yeah, I've been putting a lot of emphasis into kind of creating a really strong capsule wardrobe for myself. Our little home is going to be 7 metres, built on a 7-metre long trailer, so you can imagine there's not a ton of space for stuff. So I've really been prioritising making things which I can pair with lots of different things that I will actually use, and also making for gifts as well. I love to create, and so I'm so happy to create for other people as well. So it's been a bit of a learning curve. But I'm very excited about it. So yeah, back to this finished object. It's got this really, really beautiful feather and fan design, circular yoke based, and the increases for the yoke are created in the middle of this lace pattern. It's actually a really, really wonderful project. I love creating this. I probably will make another pullover version at some point. I love how a circular yoke fits. I've now ripped out, I think, 2 raglan cardigans that I've made because they just fall off of my shoulders, and it's the most annoying thing. And circular yokes just don't. They just sit there. They sit where they're supposed to, and they fit me really well. So I'm really, really happy with this. I bought some really cute little buttons, so they're little kind of grey black buttons with little gold glitter in them, and the garment itself is quite a mottled dark grey black tone, just to be as neutral as possible and to go with as many things as possible. And I wear a lot of dresses, so just the shape of this cardigan just fits really well over quite kind of reasonably full dresses. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with this one. It's spring here in Australia, and it's going kind of heading towards summer, so at the moment it's a little bit overcast and quite stormy outside, so sorry if the lighting's a bit funny, but it is heading towards warmer months, so I'll probably be stashing this away for the occasional summer night, but mainly for autumn, I reckon. But I love it, I'm so happy with it, and I really just love how it looks. So yeah, that is one finished object. Another finished object, I feel like I'm probably forgetting some finished objects. I've done quite a lot of sewing in the last little while, so maybe I'll show you some of my sewing things as well. But this is my other finished knitted object. I'll show you, I'm just going to take a sip. Okay, I'm a bit out of practice, guys. Okay, let me find the right side. This is the right side. So this is my first version of the Stay Soft shawl by Vera Valimaki. It's a really, really, really beautiful shawl pattern using 3 colours, so it's a 3-colour shawl design. And it's got this gorgeous I-cord edging along the end, and it is just basically squishy garter stitch. It was such a pleasure to knit, and I'm actually in the process of knitting another one. So this is a gift knit. I'm not going to keep this one. This actually hasn't been blocked, believe it or not. You can see it's curling a little bit on the edges, but because of the garter stitch, I don't even know if I will actually block it, because I really just want to allow it to be as squishy as possible. But yeah, this is going to be a Christmas present for my mummy. Hopefully you're not watching, Mum. And some of the yarns. Okay, so I started off with this kind of charcoaly grey colour just here, and that was a beautiful gift from a homespun house, from Molly from a homespun house, and it's her yak base, but I can't remember what the colourway was, and you can see it's kind of striping into this blue grey here. And the blue-grey is, I'll show you, because this is the blue-grey here, just on its own. And that is Manos del Uruguay Fino in the Inkwell colourway. And that's a merino silk single base. And then the third colour, which is this kind of mottled colour underneath, is Ella Ray Lace Merino. And I think it was just a colour number, it didn't have a colour name, but it's this really beautiful kind of plummy blue variegated. Kind of just fits so beautifully with the other yarns, I thought. It's kind of got a little bit of black in there as well, or charcoal. So it just works really, really well. So pleased. And then I used the Ella Ray Lace Merino as the I-cord edging that went along the side just here. And it's just such a beautiful finish, and it creates this really wonderful structure, but it's so stretchy. Yeah, and the I-cord goes all the way around the bottom section. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's on. It's a really nice size. I had a ton of yarn left over. It really doesn't use the full 3 skeins, which is a bit sad, but I will use them for some baby knits or something. I've got a little niece who I knit for, so I'll be able to do something really cool for her. But I just love how it sits. It's a really beautiful shape. I'm not really a triangular shawl kind of gal. I don't like them so much when they're quite pointy and they go really far down. I just don't really like that look so much, so I actually quite like the almost kind of rounded shape of this shawl. It just kind of sits kind of scarf-like, and it's long enough that these ends sit down quite nice and low as well. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with this, how this came out. The only reason I'm not keeping this one is because I have one on the needles for myself. I just love it. I think it's really, really wearable, very versatile and really cozy and squishy. And I love garter stitch. I love it. And I realised that one of the things I love about knitting is kind of knitting while I'm doing something else as well. And this project, I probably had to look at the pattern maybe 5 or 6 times the whole time. It's so simple. It's such a simple design. And it kept my attention because you're doing a few increases here and there, and there's some striping and some kind of picking up stitches and stuff. But you really can. It's great for kind of watching podcasts or audio podcasts and things like that. And yeah, it's pretty much my full, I should stand up so you can see. It's pretty much my full arm span plus a little bit, which is probably the minimum that I would want in a shawl. It sits really nicely this length. And I find that I just don't wear my small shawls. So yeah, I think this kind of size and larger is my perfect shawl. So I'm very, very happy with that. And again, that's the Stay Soft Shawl by Vera Valimaki. And I used a Homespun House, Manos Fino and Ella Ray Lace Merino. So those are my 2 most recent finished objects. I'll actually show you a couple of sewing finished objects as well. Just bear with me one sec. Okay, so I've got a couple of sewing finished objects to show you. The first one is a bra. I will not be wearing the bra to show you, but I'm happy to show you the bra. So I got into bra making recently, and it's something I've wanted to try for a really, really long time, and I've been really scared off of it. Not only because it seems quite technical, but also because you've really got to know what to buy, and there's quite a lot of little kind of different elastics and sizing and things that can be a bit confusing. So what I did was I purchased I think it's the Cloth Habit Watson bra pattern, and I also picked up a soft bra kit from an Etsy seller. And this was the second bra that I made. I couldn't actually find the first bra, it might be in the wash. And this one worked out significantly better than the first one. So I feel like with bra making, it kind of takes a few attempts to get a wearable bra, which feels a bit like waste to me, but I guess is just part of the process. So this really sweet little soft bra, I'm so happy with this. This is designed from the Cloth Habit Watson bra, and I used this beautiful floral scuba fabric, and also overlaid some lace. And then on the back there is some really strong netting, power net I think it's called, and you can see at the back the strap design just there. And something that I learned with the first one was you really feel the seams against your skin within bras. So I actually encased all of the seams with this seam tape, which really helped, and kind of just looks like top stitching from the front. So yeah, as you can see, it's very soft. There's no underwire. I don't wear underwire in my bras. If I have to wear a bra, it's not going to be underwired, and generally I don't wear bras. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this came out. There's some things I'd still want to change. It's a little bit tight. The stretching of the elastic it just takes some practice, and has an effect on the end result. So with this one, I just didn't stretch the elastic quite enough. It's wearable, it just digs in a little bit after a while. So I'm continuing wearing it, and it will continually relax and get more wearable. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this came out. It's so beautiful, and I just love the floral lace and the floral fabric and the lace together. It's very sweet. So yeah, bra making, undie making, it's something I really want to get into more. For me, it's very hard to find pretty non-underwired bras. They all kind of are like training bras here in Australia, like really boring t-shirt bras. And you'd have to pay me a lot of money to put underwire in my bras. That's so uncomfortable. I don't know how I did it for so long. Yeah. So that is my bra. There will be more bras to come, but I'm really, really happy with how this one came out. And my second sewing finished object is for my mother-in-law, except for we're not married, so mother-in-love. And it's this really, really beautiful, I'll stand up so you can see. What? It's this really, really beautiful, really sheer organic cotton tunic, and I put this gorgeous sari ribbon on the bottom. Sharon, my mother-in-law, she wears a lot of kind of layers, like trousers and tops with dresses over the top, and yeah, I just thought this would really, really suit her. I dyed this organic cotton a couple of years ago now, and it's just been in my stash. And the pattern, I can't remember what book it's from, but it's from this really sweet Swedish clothing design book. Very, very kind of simple clothing designs, quite shapeless, no darts, that kind of thing. So I am always a bit wary of that. I find that sometimes they make me look like a complete sack. Like, I usually need a little bit of a princess seam or something to show that I've got a waist. But this, because it's so sheer and so drapey, just works really, really beautifully. And you can kind of see your shape underneath. And the sari ribbon I picked up in India on my travels a few years ago, and it's just got enough weight that it weighs it down and just helps the drape. So I'm very, very happy with how that one came out. So yeah, those are my finished objects for now, and I will show you my works in progress. Alright, so I've got a big pile of knitting just here, and some of the things I haven't put a ton of time into recently, so let's have a look. And hopefully I can remember the names of everything. Alright, so in this wonderful project bag here, who my amazing friend Judith made for me, I am using some gorgeous ethical merino, so white gum wool ethical merino. I've got a couple of balls here, and this is in their gum grey colourway. And just so you know, there's 472 metres on each 100 grams, so I'm going to be able to get a cardigan out of 2 balls. And it's not the cheapest. I think what did it cost me? It was $30 something per ball. And I picked this up from my friend Emily's yarn shop in Brunswick in Melbourne called Maker Maker. If you haven't been there, go there, because they've got the most beautiful, beautiful wools, cottons, everything. Em's shop is just gorgeous. And she stocks quite a lot of kind of ethical Australian wool brands as well. Anyway, so I picked up these 2 balls, and I am making a Whippet cardigan, which is a contiguous, I think is the word, is a contiguous cardigan pattern by Anka Strick. I think she's Berlin based maybe, or German based. Anka Strick is her design name anyway. And because I'd basically vowed off ever doing a raglan cardigan ever again, and that's not to say I won't do raglan pullovers, because raglan pullovers fit me really well, but raglan cardigans do not. So this one is a contiguous pattern, which I think means basically it's knit all in one piece, but it kind of has shoulder shaping like a normal seamed cardigan would. So yeah, this is the Whippet cardigan. It's got these beautiful, beautiful design features here. It's like a little kind of twisted stitch design. And then this is the back. So it's kind of hard to show, but this is the back of the neck just here. So this is the collar. And I'm just creating the shoulder shaping now. But it has this gorgeous, gorgeous kind of twisted stitch that's going to go all the way down the cap of the arm and down. And this pattern, it also has the twisted stitch along one side, which will go all the way down one side of the cardigan. I'm going to adjust the pattern slightly. The pattern actually has this twisted stitch as a full section on, I think, below the waist. I'm actually just going to continue doing plain stockinette throughout, except for the lines of twisted stitches along the arms and around the collar on one side, just to keep it really simple. Again, going with the whole capsule wardrobe thing, I'm really putting an emphasis on garments that I will wear, and I always end up going for things which are neutral or black or plum or something that I wear regularly, and as little kind of busyness as possible. So yes, that is what I'm doing, and I'm being really quite hard with myself with what I'm making being something I will actually wear. So you'll definitely see a lot more neutrals, a lot more simple designs, and I'm really happy about that. I have recently started watching and binge watching Maria of Tuscan Knits podcast, and I originally found it just because of her design aesthetic. I just loved the colours that she was choosing, but it's very sweet actually. Like, the more episodes I've watched, the more I've just realised how we have a very similar view on wastage within craft, and capsule wardrobes and ethical wools and environmental issues. And I think she eats a vegan diet as well, just like I do. So it was really, really sweet to be able to listen to someone else who has a similar idea about her craft as I am starting to. And yeah, so anyway, back to this. So yeah, Whippet cardigan. I haven't done much on this recently. It's probably not had much love in the last couple of weeks. I love it. I have a feeling it might go on the back burner until the kind of autumn season, just because it's quite warm and squishy and cozy, and I kind of, in my head, I'm feeling quite springy, and this feels quite autumnal. So I love it. I probably will end up doing bits and bobs here and there. It's definitely something that I have to really think about while I'm making, which is fine. But at the moment I've been really enjoying doing really simple knits. So this is here for when I want something a bit more challenging. And it's not really challenging, it's more you just have to kind of be aware of stitches and things like that. So that is safely in there. And what else have I got to show you? So, what's in here? Let's have a look. This is another bag by Judith. Yes. So, living in this little leopardy bag is I think it's called Tecna. It's a pattern by Boyland Knits, and it's quite a well-known pattern. It's had a ton of projects created on Ravelry, and it's like a kind of summery cover-up, and it's so my style. I remember seeing it a few months ago, and it really reminded me of the shaping of my original smaragd pullover. It's very, very flowy. It kind of fitted up to the bust and then kind of flows down, quite see-through, great kind of overdresses. And in the original project by the designer, it's actually photographed over this gorgeous neutral linen dress, and I just want the whole outfit. So I had to make one, as you do, and I've made pretty reasonable progress on this. This is only probably a couple of days worth of work on it, and I'm halfway through the lace panel on the bottom. So this is the bottom hem, and there's a ton of stitches on here. It's all squished up, but you'll get a basic idea of what it looks like. I think I'm showing you the right side. Yes, I am. So it's this really, really gorgeous lace design. And yeah, I'm halfway through the lace panel on the bottom, and then from there it's basically just stockinette all the way up to the armholes, and then I think you work back the front and the back separately, and then you connect together at the shoulder, and then you work the arms, I think. Quite a simple design, but really, really effective. And the pattern calls for sleeves that kind of come to about here, which for me just wouldn't work. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm either going to do it just below the elbow or just above the elbow. So it's a really nice just kind of cover up over dresses and things, and not too warm. And it's a 4-ply pattern, but I'm actually using a 2-ply, and I'm hitting gauge with, I think, a 3.75mm needle. I had to play around with a few different needle sizes to hit gauge, and I am using this gorgeous yarn, which is by Spinning Yarns Weaving Tales, which is a Melbourne-based indie dyer, and this is her Coastal, I think. Yeah, Coastal. So 55% lamb's wool and 45% cotton. It's a really beautiful kind of linen-y, like soft washed linen feel, and it's this stunning, stunning, stunning colour. Really kind of browny. It's kind of not picking up so well. It's like a browny purple, muted browny purple tone. Very kind of antique-y, which is my vibe, 100%. So on here, this is a little 25 gram ball. I bought 3, so I've got these ones here. And it says, so there'll be 700 meters per 100 grams. So I think I have about 850 meters, something like that. Or 900 meters, which will be plenty. And yeah, so that's my Tecna by Boyland Knits. I'm really, really happy with how it's coming along. Kind of powering through the lace, and then it'll just be lots and lots of squishy stockinette, which is all I want to knit at the moment. So yeah, that's the colour. It's so pretty. I just know it'll go with everything. Like even over this dress, it will just go with everything. And it's so light. And what else? Oh, okay, I've got 2 more things to show you. So, I'm just sitting on a cushion on the floor. Shall I take a sip? Alright, so this basket is an expression of my love of all things neutrals and dusty. I've been, just, how do I describe it? Okay, so I follow all these amazing people like Melody from the Mandarins podcast, and Tuscan Knits, Maria from Tuscan Knits, and they have this amazing design aesthetic, and then I find myself using all of these colours which I just don't really feel go into my wardrobe. And I had this kind of awakening moment where I was like, just work with the colours that you want to wear. And for me, that's like seashelly tones, neutrals, dusty, lots and lots of simple colours basically. And I always have this tendency to want to go for like the speckled yarns and variegated yarns, and I just don't wear them. So this basket here is all the colours that I love. And in here there's lots of neutral shades and dusty plums and greys and creams and kind of dusty blues. And I have basically started again and am making a Cozy Memories blanket. And the plan is to have this as a really beautiful squishy blanket for us to, Tom and myself, to sit on once our tiny house is built. And to snuggle up with on our tiny house sofa. So I've made some really good progress. I've been obsessively knitting on this for the last few days. I only started this about maybe 3 or 4 days ago. And I've been doing little progress shots as I go on my Instagram. But this is the Cozy Memories blanket pattern. I'm kind of loosely following the Coziest Memories pattern by Kemper Ray on Ravelry, but I've changed the decrease here to a centre double decrease, so it has this really beautiful spine, which I purl on the wrong side, so you get this unbroken kind of knit effect all the way through. And I cast on 31 stitches, so that's 15 stitches along here, 15 here, and 1 in the middle. So 31 stitches, which are these stitches, blah, blah, blah. These squares are quite small, like comparative to my hand, but it just means that you can use up the smallest little scraps. And yeah, I'm just so inspired with not wasting at the moment, and these yarns and wools have just deserve to be used. So these are all 4-ply, which works for me because I'd say 90% of my stash is 4-ply. They're all very neutral, muted tones. I'm kind of the brightest at the moment is this kind of plum one here, but I just love them. They're a range of sock yarns, and this one is a bit of spindrift. Jameson's a Shetland spindrift. I've got a range of stuff in my little wicker basket here, but it's, yeah, totally inspired. This project was actually inspired by Nicole of the Gentle Knitter podcast. I kind of watched a couple of her episodes that I'd missed, and she is creating her own version of this with even smaller squares. I think they're like 20 stitches cast on or something. They must be tiny. So I went a little bit bigger than that. But yeah, I'm just completely inspired by her design aesthetic as well, and just the neutrals and the really clear style that she has. And so yeah, this is my little pretty. I love it. So at the moment I've got, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I'm partway through my 17th, and I think I'm probably going to do about 25 on each row. And it's just perfect kind of podcast knitting in the car knitting. It's just mindless, and I love it. And I'm going to take a sip. Something I wanted to share, some people with their coziest memories blankets complain about how many ends they have to weave in, and for me, I always weave in my ends as I'm casting on for the next square. So when I'm picking up the stitches, I'm actually wrapping the loose threads around as I'm knitting and creating that next square. So basically I do it as I'm casting on, so it feels it's not an issue at all for me. So all of these ones, the only one that's left is this end one here. So I won't, when I finish this, I won't have 1,000,001 ends to weave in, which is a plus because I would never do it. So yeah, that is my gorgeous seashell inspired cozy memories blanket, living in here with all my other pretties. And my final work in progress is, as I hinted at before, another Stay Soft shawl by Vera Valimaki, and this I'm creating in a really beautiful 3 colours of neutral. So this is how far I've got so far. Don't know if you'll be able to pick up the difference. Okay, you can see it a bit better here. So this colour here is actually this one. It's this really beautiful, slightly peachy, pinky neutral. It's kind of almost skin coloured on me, but it's quite a warm neutral. And that is this first colour here, and you can see it's being striped in with the second colour, which is this beautiful purple toned neutral. So I don't know if you can tell the difference. There's a subtle difference between them, but they just work so wonderfully together. And the designer of these yarns is Miss Clickety Clack, I think she's called. She's a Melbourne-based indie dyer, so I purchased through Etsy. And this is her singles base. I think it's superwash, which I would rather it not be, but I just fell in love with the colours. and bought it anyway. So I'm hoping she's going to come out with a non-superwash base at some point. But these colours are just gorgeous. And sometimes you just got to go for the colour. So yes, that's how far I've got so far. You can see that I'm kind of striping in the two colours with the garter stitch. I've done all of this today. It just knits up really, really beautiful, and it's so much fun. I just love it. And it's so squishy. So squishy. So I think that the final colour, I'll show you. Oh, it's over here. Actually, I can show you what the finished project looks like, I think. I actually have a printout of this pattern, which is very surprising. Oh, you can see a little bit of what the designer's pattern looked like. So she's used like a neutral and a pink and a variegated, which is amazing, but kind of not my vibe. But I just love it with three colours that kind of tone in together. So yes, the third colour that I'm going to do, I think is going to be this one. I'll kind of hold all three colours. I've got a picture on my Instagram stories which might show the colours a bit better, but this would be the third colour, I think, and it's this really kind of grey toned purple. It's very, very much like a fade with the other two. This one isn't actually a single, it's actually naturally dyed. I purchased this a while ago and I can't remember for the life of me who the dyer was, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's a naturally dyed Australian wool, non-superwash. I wish I could remember what the designer's name is. Anyway, it just goes so beautifully with these, so I think I'm going to include those. When I was purchasing these two, I also purchased a grey, which is this one here, which I was considering doing with this, but because this is a sock wool, it's got a very different texture. Even though I love the colour, it's got a very different texture, so I'm thinking I might save this one for a pair of socks, because I really want to make a pair of the monkey socks by Cookie A. I haven't made those yet, and I've been looking at that pattern for years, so I think this is going to become one of those. And just as a side note, Miss Click Clack Hand Dyed Yarns, her packaging is incredible. I was so excited when I opened up my package. Everything was like individually wrapped with tissue paper, and she has these really, really sweet little business cards, and it came with a little note thanking me for my order, so I just love that. So this is an Australian superwash merino and nylon blend, and 374 metres and 100 grams. And this is her Bad Oyster colourway, which I really like. So yeah, I think this is going to become a pair of... Oh, I've got an ant on me. This is going to become a pair of monkey socks. And it's living in my little handmade project bag that I made. And yeah, so that was my Stay Soft Shawl number 2. So I think that's kind of the colours that it's going to include. But I'm really enjoying this project. And I think that's everything I have to show you. I've got a couple more projects that are kind of in hibernation until the autumnal months. I've got, yeah, I'll talk about them another time. I can't even remember what the designs are called. I haven't looked at them for a little while. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to continue to follow me on Instagram, or go and check me out on Instagram if you haven't already. I post really regularly on my Bex in Real Life Instagram account with all of my knitting projects and sewing projects and things, and just my daily life. And if you want more tiny house updates, then definitely go and check me out on thelittlehome.oz. We have put the deposit down on our tiny house trailer and are in the process of just finalising our designs. So it's all happening. We're going to be building ourselves full time from early January. So at the moment Tom and I are just working as much as we can. So we're working the cherry harvest here in Australia. We're staying at Tom's parents' house throughout until our tiny house is completed. We'll be building here as well. And locally to Tom's parents' place there is a massive cherry sorting shed called Koala Cherries, which we've worked for 6 years now, I think, seasonally. Tom's now, I think, the assistant packing shed manager, and I am the shop manager, so we have pretty well paid jobs there and a lot of hours. So we are working a lot, Tom especially. I'm still working from home a couple of days a week, which is such a nice break because I can work from bed in my pyjamas if I need to, but Tom's pretty much working 7 days a week. So I've had a little bit of a moment to share my crafts with you guys. I can't really commit to doing anything regularly at the moment, but I will update you guys when I can, and definitely do check out Instagram. I'm always on there. So it was so nice to chat with you guys. Please feel free to leave comments below. I'll be checking regularly, and I try and answer as many comments as I can. But it's lovely to touch in with you guys, and I hope you're all doing well.